fucking trash.
They're all gonna laugh at
The evil is free.
you! In her soul, she's as common as dirt!
Hello.
Cinéma de merde.
Hey, this is Scott from Cinema de Merde, and today we're going to talk about the motion picture experience, Fantastic Voyage. This is from 1966, is directed by Richard Fleischer, stars Robert Boyd, Raquel Welch, and Donald Pleasance. This was one of my favorite movies from when I was younger, and I think I'm not alone in this. We begin with this airplane landing and this guy getting into a big motorcade. He's attacked and they spirit him away at a rather leisurely pace considering that they're under fire. He's some scientist that holds the key to some super advanced something or other that's all in his brain. But now he's got brain damage, which I think we're supposed to believe occurred in the accident, which would make it quite remarkable that in just a couple of hours they were able to whip together this super advanced lab complete with shrinkage center on one side and operating theater on the other. But first we abruptly begin this really cool credit sequence that features typewriter-style written letters over pictures and graphics and scientific sounds. And it occurred to me that this was ripped off wholesale for the opening to the $6 Million Man. Awesome. I love the credits for the $6 Million Man. So we meet our pilot, Dr. Grant. Grant learns that he's going to be shrunk into the size of a molecule and injected to another person, which he mentally adjusts to quite well. We also learn that they can only stay small for an hour, which makes one consider the gross but awesome possibility of this sub and its inhabitants returning to full size from inside this guy's chest cavity. We then meet the rest of the team, including Donald Pleasance as Dr. Michaels, some doctor, some other guy, and Raquel Welch as the doctor's assistant. Raquel's sex appeal is temporarily held in check by a very sensible hairdo. The script includes such clever expository devices as having someone casually mention the name of the Proteus and someone else asking,
The Proteus? What's that?
So now the showstopper shrinking sequence. The shrinking lab looks remarkably like a roller disco. The whole shrinking process looks a little bit like this. It's painfully obvious how they did this, but who cares? It's awesome! Looking back, you can see why this was so cool to like a 14-year-old boy, because it kind of floats the possibility that those little Star Wars toys and stuff you have are really shrunken little spaceships that have real shrunken little people in them. Speaking of toys, do not miss the red radar array around the patient's head that's all flipping at different levels and is literally toys. Personally, I think the entire team should be wigging out a lot more than they are due to how freaky the entire situation is, but we do get a lot of shots of them giving each other strange looks. So they're shrunk and they're injected in the bloodstream. And wouldn't you know, it turns out that the bloodstream looks a lot like the inside of a lava lamp. So they're headed straight for the heart, and the turbulence there will destroy them. Dr. Michaels suggests, for the first time of many, that they just abandon the mission.
There's only one thing we can do.
But wait, there's one crazy idea, but it just might work. The doctors are going to stop the guy's heart just as the sub enters. Now the guy's heart can only be stopped for 60 seconds, so they stop it and they go through the heart, which looks pretty cool. And then they make it out and they start it again. I like how this movie floats with the idea that the doctors can just stop and start this guy's heart as easily as flicking a switch. So they're traveling through all these trippy tunnels, but then they're running out of air. Let's abandon the mission, Michael suggests. But no, we're about to take one of the most ludicrous leaps of logic in the movie. You see, they're right next to the lungs, and they could just pop a snorkel, that's right, a snorkel, into the lungs and draw out all the air. Never mind that according to their size, air molecules would be the size of marbles. Never you mind. Also by this time we've noticed that Raquel's white wetsuit conforms quite snugly to her titties and her hair has been shaken out into a little more of a vavoom effect.
Wouldn't it be quicker if we all helped?
After a brief sojourn in the endocrine system, they've got all this gunk climbing up their vents, so they need to park it in the inner ear and go out and clean it all out. This necessitates all the surgeons in the operating theater standing completely quiet because the slightest sound will be like an earthquake inside the ear. So the divers are slowly, daintily picking the choicest bits of gunk out of the vents, and you're like, hi, are we in some kind of hurry here? Don't you guys have like 13 minutes left before you return to normal size, and you still have to get to the brain and perform delicate brain surgery?
How long do you think it'll take? Quite some time.
Meanwhile, at full size, in the operating theater, some nurse is just so concerned that a nearby doctor is sweating and feels that she must tenderly wipe his brow. So she reaches behind her without even looking and picks up this napkin and dislodges these scissors onto the floor, which creates this huge thing, and it's like an earthquake inside where the sub is. This causes Raquel to be sucked way over into these plastic tubes that are supposed to be cilia in the inner ear. She's stuck in them, bravely pretending like she can't move, though obviously she's not even trying.
Help!
She's like, help, help. Then Dr. Michael says they have to get her out of there now, or the antibodies are going to attack. This movie is where I first learned about antibodies, and whoo boy did it make an impression. Ever since, I've visualized antibodies as the kind of floating seaweed things that come and suck to your body and slowly constrict and strangle you. You'll notice that by this time, even though there's two of them swinging back, it's only Raquel that gets attacked. I guess this time, it's personal. So they have like 6 minutes left, and they sit around fucking arguing.
If it doesn't work, it's beyond my power to fix it.
Then they head into the brain and get the laser and go perform the surgery, still at a very leisurely pace. But what's this coming round the bend?
Flight corpuscles!
And apparently, much as Michaels hates confined spaces, hates the mission, hates antibodies and such, he really, really doesn't like the idea of death by white corpuscle. So he takes command of the sub and takes off. And they shoot it with the laser, and it crashes in the brain, at which point he gets eaten by a white corpuscle. Kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you ask me. So, to the eye. They swim along the eye's surface, and there's a brief shot of them sloshing around on the surface of the eyeball. Please disregard the full-size water that they're sloshing through. Then the guy in charge places a glass slide next to the eyeball of the patient, and as far as we can tell, the droplet that our heroes are in seemingly leaps onto the slide. They're taken to the growing chamber where they return to normal size, and the end. They don't even bother to tell us whether the surgery was successful or not, because who cares? If you like a sci-fi good time and to have your mind blown repeatedly, Fantastic Voyage is where it's at. Once more, this is Scott from Cinema de Merde, where you'll find lots of other reviews of bad movies and good movies and weird movies and sci-fi movies, blah blah blah, you get it. Go there now. It's CINEMADEMERDE.com. Anyway, thank you for watching, hope you had a good time. Look for some of my other video casts that I have, and yeah, see you later, bye.